Morning and welcome to the Burning Issue, the Tuesday edition. I am your host, Sannie, but our guest control. But however, the program is on and we'll be glad to hear from you. So later on the program, we shall be on our phone lines, which you shall be given a chance to participate on the number 0955221515. And of course, the Tuesday edition, as you know, we are also live on our Facebook page, 5FM Radio Zambia. You can also leave us a comment there and we'll be glad to hear from you, as well as also we are live on our YouTube channel, 5FM Radio Zambia, also live on the UPND page as well, which is UPND Zambia. About that, then you obviously have an idea of who our guest is this particular morning. So this morning, my guest in the studio is Karen Twaambo Mufuzy, who is the UPND media team member and also our partner radio stations in Central Province. We are live on Spice FM, broadcasting on 91.9 FM. And also in Luapula Province, we are live on Tuta FM, broadcasting on 90.7 FM. Platinum Radio Province is also carrying this particular program live on their frequency 99.7 FM. And in the Eastern Province, Katete to be precise, we are on Katete Radio broadcasting on 103.3 FM. Not forgetting also back in the Central Province, we are live on ZFM broadcasting on 100.3 FM. And of course, you are welcome, our dear listener. Well, Mufuzy, or let me call you Twaambo. Yeah, so Twaambo, good morning and welcome to the Burning Issue.
Good morning, Lance, and good morning, guests. It's a pleasure for me to be here today.
All right, so this is your first time coming through to 5FM Radio. First of all, let's get to profile you. Who is Twaambo?
Okay, so Karen Twaambo Mufuzy is a Zambian youth, a lawyer by profession, and part of the UPND, a dedicated member of the UPND media team.
Okay.
Yes.
Awesome. All right, so you're from the UPND to achieve in the 4 years of governing of this country. Let's try and look at what has achieved in the last 4 years.
Thank you, Lance. Coming from the previous government and where we are now, I can confidently say that there's been quite a just to take you a few steps back before the UPND came into power. There was a lot of lawlessness in the country, as well as unemployment freeze. So one of the things that the UPND did immediately that came into power was to correct those things. We now see everyone observing the rule of law. We've seen an employment revival. We've seen economic revival, as well as so many other developments that I will mention as we go further into this interview. Okay. So to start, coming from, I think I'd like to start with the employment revival, because that is one of the developments that I will applaud the political party and the government on.
Okay.
We came from a place where we had an employment freeze, and in the last 7 years or so of the PF ruling, the government and the country, we saw about less than 12,000 teachers being recruited. And one of the things that the government did, the UPND government did immediately that took over ruling, was to employ over 30,000 teachers and over 11,300 health workers, which was unprecedented in any African country, not just Zambia, not just the. And we didn't stop there. The following year, we employed about 4,200 teachers and about 3,200 health workers. In 2024, we employed about 4,500 teachers, about 4,200 health workers. And in the following year, which is 2025, at the beginning, we saw the Ministry of Health announced a further 4,000 health workers being recruited. So that is something to commend, and is something that we should be proud of as a country in terms of employment revival.
Well, when you talk about these employments, obviously one out there will still come and say, well, these are conventional jobs, because we know that the government, it's its duty to employ civil servants, obviously teachers, and in that line. So it's not like it's an achievement, but rather this is something that the government has to do.
I disagree with you, Lance. This is definitely an achievement, because in as much as it is the duty of the government to employ teachers and health workers, I think we've faced quite a lot of challenges, and we've received promises from previous governments without actually seeing progress in that sector. And space where we can actually stand out as a country to say we have employed more health workers and more teachers in places where we've had a deficit compared to other African countries. We can and say we've achieved something, because this is human development that we're talking about, and no economy can develop without such recruitments being done.
All right. So these recruitments, they were done, and obviously it's suffocating the expenditure budget for the government. How is the UPND government work line to see to it that even as they are employing such huge numbers in civil service, also the budget aligns with what is supposed to be done in terms of running this country, not suffocating it to a level that you have shortages and obviously unseen circumstances fostering to see to it that there is a lapse in one part of the economy.
Okay, so I think the government has put in place several measures to make sure that the country itself collects more revenue than it has previously.
Mm-hmm.
And we can look at the agriculture sector as well. Well, I was going to touch on that later on, but Lance, I think you might recall, you might recall that we experienced a bumper harvest that hasn't happened before, and this is right after a drought in the country. We produced about 3.7 million tons of maize, with about 500,000 tons being approved for export. The export is going to generate revenue. That revenue comes back into the country, into the economy. We have things that were subsidized before that were not. That money that was meant to subsidize things like fuel, like maize, is pumped back into the economy. We've seen ZRA itself collect more revenue than it has in the previous years, and that keeps improving on a yearly basis. All that money is being pumped back into the economy. We've seen the president go out and government officials go out to sign export agreements, as well as agreements with other investors from different countries. Just a few days ago, we saw the president sign a 19 million investment deal with Qatar. So I think in that sector, the president and the New Dawn government are handling it pretty well to make sure, of course, there's still challenges, but we are making sure that we collect enough revenue to meet the demands of the recruitments.
Well, let's go sector by sector. I think that way we'll have the citizenry understand,
Right.
or probably give proper checks and balances on what you have done and what you have achieved so far. First of all, let's start with what you've already touched on, the agricultural sector. How have you performed in the agricultural sector, owing to the fact that when getting into power, there were promises that you made as a party? So looking at those promises as a benchmark and looking at what you have achieved, have you achieved the target? Have you reached the target? Is this agricultural sector where you wanted it when you were getting into power?
It's not yet where we wanted it, but in terms of targets, I believe we have exceeded our targets, because when it comes to the promises, which you have mentioned, the president did promise that the farmers that were being awed by FRA would be paid. And I think over 2,000 farmers that were being awed by FRA were paid by the government. We've seen a bumper harvest that is unprecedented right after a drought, and that was championed by the president, by the government. He encouraged, more agriculture. He encouraged people to farm at a bigger level than they previously did. We've seen provinces like the Copper Belt, which is mainly for mining, come out top. So we've moved from just a province that was mainly mining centered to also being one of the biggest in terms of agriculture output.
Okay.
So when it comes to agriculture and our targets, we've exceeded them. But of course, we still hope to improve, and we're still putting in effort in that.
All right, so let's still get to propound it more and get obviously better out of it. So
Okay.
you've mentioned farmers were being owned, being owed rather, and you've paid them back. But apart from that, obviously there's an issue of FISIP, there's an issue of SAP, as well as there's an issue of these farming inputs being distributed to them either on time or after time. How are you faring? I think let's get to understand you
Lance,
better. Are you moving in the right
I'm
direction?
glad that you actually brought FISP in, because when it comes to FISP and all other extension services that have been provided to the farmers, we've done really well. For the first time ever, farmers received their fertilizer and farming inputs in June, way before the farming season. And this was because of the government efforts and the promises that had been made. So in terms of all those extension services and the farmer support services that you talked about, the government has done fairly well.
There are still complaints.
There are still complaints because development comes without challenges. And of course, those challenges are being looked into. Development is an ongoing process, and the government, the one thing that the government has done is listen to the farmers, and we are improving with time.
Despite recording this bumper harvest, government has still decided to sell about 500,000 metric tons of maize. This is something that which we saw last year, and not knowing that we were going to have a drought, or probably knowing that we're going to have a drought, surplus maize was sold, and then we had what we had. We had food shortages. We saw the prices skyrocketing to unprecedented prices. This government is deciding to sell this tonnage of maize. Don't you people learn?
Actually, we do, but then we also need to understand that it's a two-sided thing.
Okay.
We never we are not projecting a drought. One, two. We have not harvested as much maize as we have now. FRA has reached its storage capacity, and on top of that, the farmers need revenue to continue running, to continue farming. The exports that are being done are going to generate revenue that's going to help the farmers, and that's going to be pumped back into the economy. So at the end of the day, it does not make sense for us to store maize that might even end, to keep projections that have happened, that have already taken place so far. We can see that we're not extent of something that has not been precedented before.
That probably prices of come down, especially mealie meal.
Of course, because the prices have already come down. I'm sure even when you walk into your local grocery store or corner store, you'll be able to see some places even less than 200 kwacha for a 25 kg. We have it selling at 210 from way over 285. So we are confident because we're already seeing it happen.
All right, let's quickly shift our attention to the energy sector. Obviously, this is one sector that also cripples the country, owing to the fact that after the drought, or due to the drought, we've seen low levels of energy through ZESCO to its local people. Where are we when it comes to the energy sector?
Okay, so when it comes to the energy sector, Lance, it's important for us to look at where we're coming from as well. Naturally, as a country and in the previous government, there haven't been proper strategic plans in terms of the energy sector, and there haven't been prior strategic plans to look at when we experience things like droughts. And that's one thing that the current government has put in place. The $19 million deal that was signed with Qatar a few days ago, that covers the energy sector as well. We've seen the launch of the Chisamba solar plant that is producing about 100 megawatts of electricity, and another one that is going to be launched of about 200 megawatts as well. We've seen the United Capital Fertilizer plant as well come up with an energy plant that is going to be supplying over 40 megawatts of power back to the grid. Over 40 that they're using within the fertilizer plant itself. So the government has diversified the energy sector in terms of not generally relying on generating power from water only.
Okay. All right. So Anyway, the 1,000 via Chisamba solar plant doesn't seem to have done any difference at all.
Actually, it has. If you go to Chisamba and talk to the locals there, they'll tell you that they're not experiencing the same load shedding that we are in Lusaka. It has. And if you go, I'm sure you host a lot of people, and if you send some journalists there to talk to a few people, they'll tell you that it's actually helped the homeowners in the area of Chisamba.
Well, so load shedding is a thorn in the flesh of the UPND government,
Right.
because this sector, every aspect of life, especially the social life of people, where we have barbermen, we have the cosmetologists, talking about these that deal with salons, we have welders, and all these SMEs that are dealing with these small businesses that rely 90% on energy or on Zesco power, but then they are experiencing unprecedented hours of blackout, less than 5 hours of power, failing to survive. What is the party, in collaboration with the government, doing to ensure that there is something done to better, or to better the experience of these power outages?
Okay, I will not talk much about what we're doing because that's something that I've already mentioned. I'll talk about what we've done. You mentioned the baba and the marketeers and all these running small businesses in the markets. I think if you go to any main market right now, you will find a generator that works throughout the day up until power is restored. Just when I go to Chainda, I think by 10 or 9 or so, you find that the generator is already operating. That is the one thing that the government has put in place, and we've never had that before. Every market has a big generator to cater for the market and the small businesses that are running there. So I am not very sure when you talk about the barbers and all these marketeers that rely on the power, and when you say that they are lacking, because in as much as we still have a deficit, of course, load shedding is a thorn in the flesh. The president himself just a few days ago did mention how he's unable to sleep because of load shedding. And it should give people comfort that you have a leader watching to the problems that we're going through and is putting things in place to make sure that things are done. And one of those things that have been put in place are those generators in the markets,
which Zesco has said they are very expensive to run because of the number of liters that they need to run in a day. So obviously, it's not every day that these gensets are working.
Actually, it is because the marketeers are working hand in hand with the council chairpersons as well to provide fuel. So those are self-sponsored by the people that use them. So those
Okay.
generators are running every day.
So that is in the main market. There are others of these that are running in the compounds, compound shops, home shops.
I will return.
What is
I will reiterate that development is an ongoing process. And if we have already seen development going towards a certain direction, we can be confident that eventually we will get there. With the diversification in the energy sector that is happening right now, no Zambian is going to be left behind.
This is the Tuesday edition of the Burning Issue. And of course, my name is Sannie Banda, who is sitting in for Zachariah Banda. My guest this morning in the studios is Karen Twaambo Mufuzy, who is the UPND. And of course, we are also live on our Facebook page, of which we'll be glad to hear from you. If you can leave a comment under there for you to have an interaction with our guest in the studio. So we are discussing the 4 years of the UPND in power. Now, let's come to social issues such as obviously the increased CDF. So CDF was increased from 1.6 million kwacha to 36.1 million kwacha, of which it has received kudos from all sector players, owing to the fact that this is just decentralization of government into the local people. But then it comes with its own challenges, of which it's full of bureaucracies, and sometimes, well, not all the money will be released just there and then, the 36.1, but then it's working in one way or another. Let's speak to it.
Yeah, when it comes to CDF and you saying it's not going to be released there and then, the CDF is actually released to the constituencies. It's something that has happened. It's something that the MPs and the local people of various constituencies have applauded. So unlike previously when the CDF money didn't come through, immediately the CDF money is approved, it is released to all constituencies. And this is money that has been readily available in those constituencies. We've seen auditing and the local government minister going from constituency to constituency to see how that money has been used. This is because it has already been allocated and it is available. So, of course, there may be some challenges, but I believe that the bureaucracy was reduced in the form of the decentralization. And also, it has benefited quite a number of youths and women, as well as the general public. Um, I am a firm believer of empowerment of women and youth because they have lacked previously. And Lance, let me remind you that currently the CDF, 10% of the CDF caters for youths, 10% caters for women. And within the youth, you also find women. In just in Iteji itself, you will find women being empowered, something that you'd rarely find, if at all you'd find it before. We have youths that have been empowered with skills, constantly being empowered, constantly being educated through CDF, constantly being given contracts through CDF. So this is something that we can be highly proud of. I think it's one of the top points of the New Dawn government.
All right. So, yes, you may say it's working in constituencies or other constituencies, but let's look at these challenges, mainly challenges, and how are you helping the government looking at the fact that it's the UPND in power, it's a party in power? How are you helping the government to see to it that these challenges which you receive or that you might hear of?
If you looked at the visits that the local government minister was making, that is a way of holding, the people that are put to spearhead and to authorize and to be in charge of the CDF. To make them accountable. So we look at the money that has been spent, we look at the challenges, and of course those are dealt with in the background. It's not something that is going to be very publicized because I think there is positives than we have that have happened. I am happy to share that with you.
Uh, by time you mean now I give you time to look at them?
Of course.
Well, okay, so let's get to look at them because obviously your opponents or the opposition are saying that you, the UPND, have reduced development of the country to building 1x3 classroom blocks, and you are calling that, and when in the actual sense,
I believe that development starts with people. It starts with empowering the people. There's no country that can be developed by just having infrastructure that does not empower the people. We've seen places that never had roads, places that never saw a grader, like in Iteji, and in places as far as Eastern Province have graders. Almost every constituency now has a grader, has earth moving equipment to make sure that the roads are done. In Iteji, they're aiming to reduce the distance between the pupils to the schools to 5 kilometers by next year. We've seen pupils, like we've seen pupils about maybe 2,000 in one classroom block. Yeah, we've seen an expansion to maybe having 3 to 4 to the same number in a short space of time. Through CDF, we've seen ablution blocks being created. These are kids that have never seen flashing toilets. Lance, you can imagine, you've grown up, you haven't seen a flashing toilets, you haven't been able to attend school. We've seen now over 2 million pupils being enrolled in quality education, with teachers being recruited to make sure that the right education is delivered to those pupils. So there's no way looking at development that is not really development. I'm not even sure what that means, because human capital is very important in terms of development in a country.
Let's list a few that which CDF has done. I know you've mentioned road network. You've mentioned of a few that has been done, but let's get to look at more. What really has CDF?
Never seen a desk before sitting on tree logs, and now we have them sitting on desks. Those desks are being made by the youths that have been empowered by CDF in terms of carpentry. We've had the ZNS recruit over 5,000 youths in 2002, and just earlier this year, there's a further announcement of about voluntary skill training that was under the ZNS, and that had a focus on carpentry and on agriculture as well, which is compulsory for them. So those are, I think, those I can say are the main skills that have been empowered through seeing what we have done. And we can only encourage them to remain resilient. We were resilient before we came into government, and I believe we're resilient even now.
Well, let's start picking calls. Obviously, we started slightly late. Let's also try and obviously give chance to our dear listener to come through and obviously participate. Remember, you are calling us on the number 0955 221515. That's the number that you are calling us for your participation on the program. Good morning.
Hello, good morning, Scott.
Good morning. Thank you. How are you?
I'm fine. This is Moses. Our guest, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you.
Thank you.
Your network is very bad. Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm able to hear you. Well,
okay. Yes, you are now clear. Your name and where you're calling us from?
Moses, I'm calling you from Mufuzy.
Okay, Moses. Munga ponya puma.
Ichi chipani cha UPND vantu vakamba kuti nichaboza chinakamba kuti unga uzankala 50 kwacha kulibe na unga wa 50 kwacha and you are even be happy there that unga is 210
Moses, your line is very bad. Do you mind trying to move?
Okay, yes. What about now?
Now we can hear you.
Okay, so Japan UPND chinakamba unga 50 kwacha unga 50 kwacha lo shading pamzi malu kwa UPND gharama za CDF vantu vatenga siwalipira maloni koma ichi chipani cha UPND
vantu vakamba va UPND ni vaboza imwe mukamba chani?
Na ine niona kuti kali no boza kali boza mamene lili na ine pano naona kuti bati vinangu zona vananti chaka kaboza 250 fertilizer kulibe kai fetifuna kulima zona kwa zona manje anakamba 250 anakamba trade shading kabwela kuzankala kulibe mama ndiye uwese hapa kali vimvole mbedwa sunga vikane na pa social media vantu vama vibweresa venzo kamba paje ni mwezi mu opposition
so Moses
mwandi wake konzero wango tina maboza chabe shuwa.
Thank you very much for your contribution. 0955221515 is the number that you are sending through your comments, or the number that you are using to reach us in the studio. Good morning. Hello, good morning.
Tauka
bueno. Tikamba na bandani.
Bana
Washimaki.
Yeah. Brother Morgan. Yeah. Good morning, Amai.
Good morning, my brother Morgan.
Yeah. You know, the UPND came on difficult time. Just deliver most of 50%. So we need to do more because to avoid being criticized. We know that people voted for UPND, the better life. Even the PF supporters voted for UPND to win 2 million plus. It means some of people who are wearing green did not vote for PF, voted for UPND for the change. So now the point is that we are going towards the election next year. The whole parliament is in 4 years. Talking about, we have been accused that UPND didn't land the businessmen because they are selling electricity and selling maize outside. So they like so much money instead of like the people. But the fact of the matter is to deliver so that it will be all over next year. But our employer is the people. So does the people happy or not? That's what the issue should be happening. I think. Thank you so
much. All right, 0955221515. That's the number that you are calling us on. We are picking your calls. Good morning. Good morning. bweza nkoni volume kuchilimba.
Nabweza muri bweza di.
Mushe muri bwanji.
Namvera muso kuti program yetu amai bali hapa mpando. Bamvera ko na beve.
Okay, ati ni bandani zina.
Niye chansa kuno ku telemouse.
Ba chansa kutumapo.
Ngatenga ko chape mbali ya ma genset.
Aha.
Ya mimi bagamba kuti ma genset tunachisupply yarani makani mutana ni business ya ngono. Wana pamene apa so bweni pa telemouse manje so bweni ani muone ngati basebenza magazi lipo pano. Hivyo ngavisebenza bweni manje. Very true. Wana bantu banapeta UPND bantu vote change kwenda kushiwe kufunga kuyamba kuichose makamba chabe ni free education kwa sira mdala bantu kuti vantu kuita government mdala government ni vantu vanabwezapo vantu vaja ono makaunda bakakondera bamene bachita vantu vabwezapo so also kamiza mfuku kubera mazi mdala ngati bakamba kuti ichiri bwera mdala mwashaka understand abantu bale ufwa na totera
Cheers mam kwa iva chance. All right, let me give you an opportunity to respond.
Thank you, Lance. So Amoze Sevenza wakamba pali unga wa 50 kwacha. I think that taps into the issue that I had already addressed in terms of the drought and certain unforeseen circumstances that were beyond our control. But of course, things have been put in place, and it should give people confidence that the price of milling meal is going down. Of course, we're not stopping there. We're still putting in things in place in terms of expansion of agriculture. And when it comes to the fertilizer as well, there's been an expansion at the United Capital Fertilizer, and we are now seeing Zambia produce its own ammonia and urea. This is going to reduce the expenditure on the country to below 450 million, which was previously spent on fertilizer. And not only that, we are now going to be exporting this export potential, not just within Southern Africa itself. We're already exporting to Zimbabwe, to Botswana as well as DRC. So besides that revenue being collected from the export being pumped back into the economy, we're also going to see the price of fertilizer reduce because we are now going to source it locally. And the time frame as well between the time that the farmer receives the fertilizer to the time that they start applying it is going to reduce because it's now locally manufactured and supplied.
But so are we going to see the price of milling meal coming down to the promised 50, or we say it's going to still remain affordable? I mean, look, I cannot guarantee or quantify at what point exactly it's going to come down to 50, but that is our goal. Okay. We have a promise that we made, and that is our eventual goal. Of course, we're not going to, we should all be worried if it's just going to suddenly drop without proper measures being put into place, because then you know that the price is going to shoot back up again. But from the bumper harvest that we had, from the electricity and energy diversification that we're doing, from the expansion of the fertilizer plant and us starting to produce fertilizer locally, we can at least guarantee that is going to drastically reduce the price of milling meal and of fertilizer as well. Okay. So we can be confident in that. Okay. Let's get to respond to Bashimagi. We have Bashimagi and Chansa.
And chance genset. These are machines. This is machinery. We cannot guarantee that because we've put a genset, it's never going to stop working. It's never going to develop an issue. Of course, these issues are going to come up, and it's unfortunate that it's not working right now. But these are issues that they can bring up with their, with the council chair people, with the people that are in charge in those in those areas. And these are issues that should be addressed. Yes.
Okay. All right. So obviously this issue brings up what I had brought to say. At some point in some markets, these things don't work, probably due to there's no fuel or it develops a technical fault. But then if that happens, let's say, for example, it develops a technical fault, then how do you as a party come in? We know they're being run by ZESCO, they're ZESCO owned, but still, if they're not running, the complaint will not be about ZESCO, but the complaint will be the UPND. So what do you do in this situation, in this circumstance that these gensets develop a fort?
Okay, so this is where party structures come in, and this is why I brought in the issue of the council chairpersons and the people that overlook the markets. These concerns should be brought to them.
Mhm.
And of course, if they're not dealt with there, they can be escalated. But I believe that this is an issue that can be resolved with the right people, right where the people are.
All right, let's pick another set, of course. Good morning. You're through to the program. Hello, good morning.
Bueno, Band.
Vasepiso.
Yebo.
Okay, Vasepiso. Munga ponya poma.
Nokamba kwanga chaninga chefuna kufunza. Okay. Inyakamba UPND yakangosta viri vose patiriye mankara kuzemba chida. Batani kamba kuza kuti mugwirizano palibe. Saka CDF fanga kamba vakamba CDF. Maona? Tete sema kamba lesi tikakamba zvintu kutiganzira bandi future kusogolera vana vatu. Not as long as niamu part of government ngakama vizano wamisa government kafuna pano muri ya kundasha president bamta kamba kuza kuti ngakama fabwino zenda bazana ni ma commission zanda nipase kuza kusogo kama zanda takondra but setika ganda pa future ya generation to come tena kamba kuti please UPND sinakango chako vile vote east of party vambiri muna CDF mami venga kunze ni feo tikubesa miti kamba tmenga loko tikanga to kuskuru mo education ili yebo kumukamba kuti wetani tikonkala mena kufuna kupereka mwana kusumi boza ya mkamba bani ine sinda kumuzana kuti ngapeleka mwana ku private kubeza education zenda tengeria bali ka 100 na tabu zo ntoka mabuku mwana school kila pesa tijende kutende kumwa hospital sima mkadwara kutafuna kwenda mu hospital ko mukire ko mutende ku private ko mutende ku South Africa kata mutende ku quality tukazima kutia audience setika zikutia environment audience kwanisa kuti muri monster ko mukadwara mfa kwenda ku state mapenzi ndo kwa bazuru ko kwenda ku hospital zigwabira sasa mutende kwenda ku private endo government yao but you must see the topic please tete mkapitika zibiri za African kuti azonga zimiruri azonga pompando nikabisi vino amilisa siganda kusogoleka zese kuti wa pocket mindset tete chinje please tete batino panga future Zambia kutende pasogoro iyi ndiye mindset for kuchinja tete kabisa Africa inde pasogoro but ita teacher big ndo semora kuti kanti yake video sasa mindset yanga pangandri yake kuti akufaka tendera ma pocket atema yafuna service sende atema tu amilisa kademera maje mfuna olemera chemweka muzanwa kademera tia na bandra but muzungu sasa na bendra man tete sepano biti yonke ija muzungu mtawankara ndrama isangana roti kutika pana roho anapanda chakati man tete change our mindset devringa kamba please tete Zambia zinda pasogoro tuko
ziko mwasapisi 0955-221515. That's the number that you are using for your contribution on the program. Good morning. Okay, lost you there. Kindly call us back on the number 0955-221515. Good morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Mr. Ankua from Garden. Good morning.
Good morning, thank you. How are you?
And I think the problem ya bwana tena at least sako patika mbili kama yake ya kangiwa. Kwa ndio niko singi ba UPND wanabora mpawa na boza. Ndio wao kama tao ngafito kata. Inga ofito kata wewe kanizi mpeti ya kabora hapo. Hiyo ndiye boza. Our problem right now ni moja. Sasa ndio advance. No, wanabora kwa family. Ndio wanabora wa PF. Ndio mungala. Ikakambako ndio kamba tawe ni warezi sasa ndio sana so hapa futi sababu ndio futi gusa futi mili so government so I think ndio vala bameka siku kuenda kwa tremesa ni kama education sasa ndio kama si education class for 100 kita kama kinga kuna wafunza madam wao mama wao sasa government I private school watafanya ifana watu wapeleka ku government school wamekuja mafunzo. I think ni boma yakangiwa iambie kwa sababu ndiko mumsenze bwana
ziko mwankoa 0955-221515 0955-221515. That is the number that you are calling us in the studio. Good morning, you're through to the program.
Good morning.
Good morning, thanks. Your name and where you're calling from?
This is Dr. Proud. Good morning, panel there.
Good morning, Dr. Proud. How are you?
I'm okay. It's good you are explaining well over manifesto of UPND, madam.
Thank you.
For example, I'm in Chongwe right now. We are passing through the settlement scheme. There is a lot of maize. Because of that dump harvest through our prison, has the Hijirama vision to give fertilizer people aid. Right now in the garden compound where I live, it was a PF stronghold where being held by Jimmy Kapata, a minister of land, former minister of land. Right now, UPND is building road in the garden. You know, Mandela is a PF seat. That seat is being held by one of the PF members there. So UPND is up to those people who are dreaming to say President Hassan will be removed. They should prepare their own defeat again in 2026. Thank you very much, madam.
Thank you.
All right, let me give you a chance to respond to that batch.
Okay, so we'll start with Mr. Sepiso. Mr. Sepiso, I agree with you. I think we need unity and we need empowerment, which is what the UPND is focusing on. We need to empower the health sector, the education sector, because the things that you are mentioning, saying, the reason that we are recruiting a lot of health workers, making sure that there's medicine and equipment in these clinics and hospitals, and making sure that CDF is building these clinics in areas that don't even have hospitals, like Iteji, which has never experienced a hospital. Right now, there's a mini clinic being built with equipment being put there. From 21 clinics, it's moved to 28. So I keep saying that development is it's an ongoing process. It never ends.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason that we are pumping in all this effort into the education and the health sector is so that we do not have to go out there to get these services, so that we can be attended to locally.
Mm-hmm.
And in terms of the pupils and the of course, there's still challenges in terms of pupil to classroom ratio. But this is why we've expanded CDF to a capacity that hasn't happened before, from 1.6 to 36 million, and already allocated and dispersed to the constituencies. That should give you hope that we're working, and we're working for the good of the people. Mr. Nkua, the quality education that you're talking about centers on the same concern that had been raised by Mr. Sepiso. And I think it's something that I've touched on already when it comes to the recruitment and making sure that we have enough schools, classroom blocks, and the teachers as well. So that will be addressed. And I'm glad that so far most of the callers have actually said they have seen the development. Of course, they've pointed out the challenges, but these challenges are being addressed every day.
Okay. All right.
Mr. Proud, thank you so much for calling. We are glad that you're looking at things that are happening on ground, and we're happy to be doing well in a formerly PF stronghold. I encourage everybody else to keep being resilient and to, just educate themselves on what is happening with CDF, with their constituencies, to find time to also visit the offices so that you are not left behind.
Well, let's continue picking calls on the number 0955-221515. Good morning. You're through to the program.
Hello?
Good morning.
Hello?
Good morning. You're through to the program.
Yes, sir. Good morning, Mr. Moderator.
Good morning. Thanks. Your name and where you calling from?
Ambassador Mrenga calling you from Kau. Good morning, madam.
Good morning. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. For me, I think UPND ngakumitera mapesenti. I think you can tell
Vamulenga. Hello?
Hello?
Okay, so we did not get what you said. There was a glitch in network. Kindly say that again.
Okay, I think I was saying that in terms of what percentage in Akubapela, I just giving them maybe 20 or 30% so. Because the reason why the people voted for this government, it is because of the promises, they promise. Ubunga wa 50 kwacha, ubunga wa 50.
Vamulenga. Hello?
Hello?
Okay, your network seems to be facing a bit of some challenges. Would you mind moving a bit? Can hardly hear you. Okay, can hardly hear him, but I think you get the idea, right? Because he talked about giving you 20% because of obviously the promises you have voted into power because of the promises that you made, but then the challenges that are there. Let's speak more, cause good morning.
Morning, boss.
Good morning, thanks. You're through to the program.
Yes,
Down
the penalty.
Good morning.
Okay, yeah. So I think
Zina na kwamene mtitumira.
first on banda within Lusaka.
Okay, namvera koche banda.
First on banda.
Oh, first on banda.
Yes. So okay, so the first time
Lost you there. All right, so 0955-221515. That's enough. Okay. 0955-221515. Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. Thanks. You're through to the program. Your name and where you
This is calling from Cabo.
At Elder. You said your name is? Okay.
Madam Mabomba Chan.
Bueno, Shani.
Bueno. Madam, if you want to run the two for Katamoro AP, pero a bit like a woman should try with the few. That UPND bashi the office, or fit very government muri, fit na bakonga poco vi pavanti. Bale pela Joe window to take you the Murando, actually, to a question down team, we are pity. Futi, bale pela 1,000 Sombra, Mataba, so. Ndamwita ngo kukawe medaya amataba kimwe kubati kuba amataba tukitrezo mbera twesta 85 medaya amataba obato anatambira kuba amataba ndada tukawela ne UPND twamera kushite bunga bwafika kuri 500 bapiye ba ripo bunga walesta 120 na ichiro bagatera ati bunga na budura ngana isaine mukarashito bunga 50 kwacha fiwe mukarashita 12 kwacha batwerere so kwani icyo cyonke kishi bachipapecho babo eshapete tumenogo bati kutika konganya ko kutapeta kuteko za UPND bashikisha amataba tureba kanye ko tumishikisha amataba bishire kumweze kiri bashikisha baita mu guteba ati kubombesha iyo cyane ngo bunga budure ni drought so pari rero so baba no uchushoro tulepitamo opposition iboguri ba opposition twere mbago bakala ndaza tu yo twala nao abantu ko tukavota UPND twanaka nayo bari uchushi kachalo madamu na uchari no skole mwaka mbili mbona ndio kusunga bwino sana mukirase ngachakora ditita kutafunda na 140 ni kitu cyo ngo mwana muretu bitu bana yo bana batwara kuma private ati free education na hapo challenge well.
All right, 0955-221515. Let's see if we can pick two last more, and then as you respond, you also get to start winding up. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. You're through to the program. Your name and where you're calling from?
You are talking to Dr. H.H. Mwalibumbe Nikawe.
Dr. H.H. Mwalibumbe.
Exactly.
Okay.
Mwabukashami mayoko.
Bueno, Maukashani.
Wabombafe wino lefale mipala mulelo ndola kintufikankala.
Thank you.
Yefi fue kutasha fie kuli UPND ofaya ingila mubuteko ofaya finti ofaya chita. Bayiru to promise by UPND budi anda the leadership of Wakande Chile Makobati nikesa funyaka dalizi muyalipwa nikesa leta free education yalipwa nikesa isula mama ini yoba isabe ba PF bali isula na shaft 28 huku muno mukabo njika yimu ngushi textile kuno yali campaign 2 yale ifuka sepamba campaign time but hapa pali no mbakuti mwaisa mwacheki na kulima mashini yanyu Joe Kale Joe ba PF bali wanjoto bala panga Joe Kale Joe na pia na nomba songa mabe kushako ati shirikwisa tabakalande but UPND yafikirisha teyapo papers free nani kani impia shabalanda ishi shire munekafo shire bomba nani kana mane for working amarodinga mwefe kuno kukavwe mukatondo nani kani mukatondo muzikala mumuwadi nasanga kwa tikuli amadrode waletanga pali mane for work. It is happening nani kani Finchi ama school mawani by free classroom almost every word. It is happening. Document ya kupanga maround akasa apopera entiacho sema sio wali vik how nangu mtu tata shafua singe kwa ningalanda kwa bati offer ya UPND abantu bale akuma skills ya sana na driving na campaign shani na youth mbwe ni kwenye after kwenye wa moderator na Twaambo tukire kofe na bambi
Chisma Mkwai. 0955-221515. Let's pick the last call and then we get to start winding up. Good morning. Good morning. You're through to the program. Hello. Good morning.
Hello.
You are through to the program. Your name and where you're calling from.
Yes, please. I'm Banda calling from within Osaka.
Mr. Banda, you can go ahead.
Yes, please. Good morning, madam.
Good morning, thank you.
Yes, you should be aware that one of the issues that brought down PF is cadarism. Now, I want to take it to you that cadarism it has gotten worse and profession into especially ministries. Would want to urge you to nip it before it's too late. It is now getting worse. For information, take it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Banda. All right. I don't know if you got it.
I did, thank you.
Yeah. So we can begin responding as also we contemplate winding up.
Okay, so Elder Gift pretty much talked about the maize and how it's become expensive and the milli meal. And well, I won't get tired of reminding everyone that the government is working to reduce the cost of milli meal, of maize, of food as well. And this is why we have things in place in terms of fertilizer and electricity as well. And also just making sure that fertilizer as well is affordable for everyone, so that we see the prices of these things reduce. And in terms of fuel, we have done something that hasn't been done before. We recently signed. We now own a 20% stake in the oil refinery in Angola, as well as putting in place a refinery within our country itself, which hasn't happened before. We are now going to have our own oil refinery within the country. And with that, we are going to see the price of fuel reduce even more. We know that fuel is the price of fuel is tied to the global market and not just Zambia, which is something that not everyone and the layman may understand. And in terms of subsidies as well, we need to realize that where we're coming from and where we are now, there was an issue of subsidies. And of course, it may seem like fuel became more expensive, but that is not the truth, because it was being masked under subsidies, which have been pumped back into the economy to make sure that the economy is revitalized. And well, we are going to see the price of fuel come down. And Dr. HH, thank you so much for calling and for reminding everyone. It's good to know that there are people on ground that see the work that is being done. Banda from Lusaka, with regards to the cadarism in ministries, well, thank you for the heads up, although I cannot comment on that because I am not aware of what exactly he was referring to.
So actually he's saying he's more like a whistleblower. He's telling you there are cadres in ministries.
Okay, so I can encourage him to, the government is protective of whistleblowers. I am not in a position right now to comment on that because I do not have the information, but I encourage him to take it up with the right authorities, because that is something that the president is against, that the government is against. We are completely against cadarism, and the president has made it clear that whoever goes against the law or breaks the rule of law is on their own. Thank you.
So we also had Ambassador Mulenga, who spoke of UPND actually haven't done anything from the promises that you made when coming into power.
I think that the answer is self-explanatory, because we've had callers that have actually attested and agreed to some of the developments that I've pointed out already. And I can only encourage him to visit his local constituency for him to have a first-hand understanding of the things that are being done with the people that he can actually relate with on ground level.
All right. So your closing remarks as we come to the end of the program.
My closing remarks, I think, are to thank every citizen that voted, those that are yet to vote as well, to encourage them to to be resilient and to give UPND another chance, because we are working. I think we have proven that we have the record on paper. This is in the public domain. The things that we've done are easily accessible by just anyone. We've been very transparent, and I'll just like to thank everyone for their resilience, for voting the UPND into power, and for standing strong and in belief with us all this time, and also encourage the youths and the women to take advantage of CDF, to empower themselves, for parents to empower their children through the skills that are being paid for through CDF as well, and to believe in Zambia, because this is our country and the UPND is for us. Thank you so much, Lance.
Well, Karen Twaambo Mufuzy, I would love to thank you for making time to come through to 5FM Radio on the burning issue. And of course, let me also say thank you to our partner radio stations that carried this program live on their respective radio stations, talking about Spice FM Radio, that is broadcasting in Central Province on 91.9 FM, as well as Tuta Radio, broadcasting on 90.7 in Luapula Province, Platinum Radio in Ndola Copperbelt Province, broadcasting on 99.7 FM, ZFM in Central Province, broadcasting on 100.3%, as well as 0.3 FM rather, as well as also Katete Radio, broadcasting on 103.3 FM. This has been the Tuesday edition of The Burning Issue, and I've been your host, Lance Sannie Banda, who's been sitting in for Zachariah Banda. God willing, join Zachariah Banda on Thursday as he brings to you another edition of the Thursday edition of Burning Issue.
Tune in next week for another edition of The Burning Issue, and thank you for your participation. Democracy and freedom of expression is about